Hi, Ezra. It's so nice to meet you. My name is Jesse Kozarowski. I'm a writer for the Nocturnal, and I am so excited to be here speaking with you about all it is that you're doing, because you are truly on cloud nine right now. You're doing so much disability advocacy work. You're competing in the Paralympics. I have to say, I've been following you on social media, and you have just been so inspiring to me. So I can't believe that this is my first ever Nocturnal interview, and it gets to be with somebody as remarkable as you. So before we kind of get into our interview questions, I was just curious if you can give my audience a little bit more background on who you are and all it is that you do.
I'm a Paralympian for Team USA. I run track and field, and we're nearing on the Paris Paralympics, which is very exciting. I would say probably the thing I'm the most proud of at this point in my life has nothing to do with the track, but rather is the nonprofit that my family and I founded about a decade ago to provide year-round sport equipment, training, and competitive opportunities for people with physical disabilities in Southern California. And we recognized that there was a lack of adaptive sports opportunities. So if you had a physical disability, there in general are a lot of barriers to entry in order to participate in sports. My running blade is $15,000. A racing wheelchair is extremely expensive. Even a wheelchair basketball chair is extremely expensive. For example, the average person in a wheelchair can't just roll up to the YMCA and play wheelchair basketball. They need a specific chair. They need a specific game. There's all these barriers in order to just participate in everyday sports that the average person totally takes for granted. So the combination of that and the fact that there was no previous programming in Los Angeles or Southern California. So if you had a physical disability, you just couldn't play sports, which is so crazy to think about. We recognize that, filled in the gap right there, and then now, about a decade later, have become one of the bigger adaptive sports nonprofits in the country, which is really exciting.
And by the way, congratulations on being selected as one of P&G's Athletes for Good recipients. That is huge, especially as you just told us a little bit more about your charity, Angel City Sports. So moving forward, I was curious if you can kind of share the impact that this has on not only your charity, but also the para community in Los Angeles.
The tough thing about the adaptive sports community is it's not really funded by the government. And then the schools don't know how to properly integrate someone with a physical disability. And so it's really all left to the nonprofit sector, which is mainly funded by corporate partners. That's how we are able to provide programming. So thanks to the P&G Athletes for Good program, we can provide 5 multi-sport days for the community. And that's why we're so grateful to have partners like P&G, because they help directly impact, their help directly impacts the community. You know, what they do, the support that they have given us is impacting the adaptive community on a grassroots level. And it's really cool to have and to see companies like P&G lean into the Paralympic movement in the way that they have for so long, because they not only promote and support and are impacting the Paralympic movement at this sort of global international level, but then through the Athletes for Good program, they're directly impacting the community on the ground at the grassroots level. And so, I mean, the Paralympic movement and the world in general for someone with a physical disability would be exponentially better if we had 1,000 P&Gs.
Well, Ezra, we've talked a lot about your charity, your advocacy, but this is probably what I'm most excited for you. You're going to be involved in a new Netflix film, Rising Phoenix, A New Revolution. Can you tell us a little bit about the film's message, its potential impact, and why do you think it's important that you're involved in a project that redefines disability for all audiences?
I truly feel like my larger purpose on the planet is to redefine the image of disability, to normalize disability. And that's exactly what this film, Rising Phoenix, A New Revolution, is going to do. I think that the Paralympics is a beautiful platform to almost bounce off of to help us talk about global issues regarding disability. And so I just look forward to seeing this film, seeing the beautiful stories that are told. I'm grateful to be included in it. And I just can't wait to see the impact it has on the way we view disability, because that's what it's about. We've seen what representation can do for literally every other minority group. How transformational is that? Not only do we have representation now in front of the camera, we have representation behind the camera, because that's equally as important to help tell the on-camera stories properly and authentically. And so, I mean, everything about this project is so ingrained in what I stand for and the impact that I hope to leave. And so I'm grateful to be a part of it. And I can't wait to see the legacy it leaves.
Yeah, that's so cool. It was one thing I was prepping for this interview. I was reading that and I was like, wow, that is just so amazing. Especially as like a movie connoisseur myself. I was like, you never really see um, inclusivity behind the camera. So it's really cool that it's like kind of a full-fledged team. It must be a total passion project from everybody on all ends.
Absolutely. And that's how, I mean, that's how we create real change, right?
Mhm.
Because having people with disabilities behind the camera then helps tell the on-camera stories more authentically. And the truth is, when you live with a disability, the media gets your story wrong all the time. They make
Yeah.
it a pity party, a sob story, a feel bad for you, all this stuff that isn't authentically portraying the way a person with a disability wants to be portrayed. And now you have those with disabilities behind the camera too. It creates for a project that's going to be massively successful, and I just can't wait to see it.
So as I mentioned earlier, I've been following on social media for quite a while now, and I think you and I both know that social media can be such a powerful tool for advocacy. So I was curious how you leverage your platform to raise awareness about your charity and the needs of the entire para community.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, it's easy to get caught up in the likes and the views and the comments on social media. It, at the end of the day, can be a superficial platform, but the way I like to think of it or structure it in my head is every like, every view, every comment, every follower is someone where disability is now slightly more normalized in their eyes. And that's really important to me. I think that never in the history of the world have we ever been able to reach so many people by the tap of a button. And I think that's really special. And so I am very aware of the impact social media can have. And I try to utilize it as much as I can because at the end of the day, someone that sees a video of me talking about my prosthetic, not only could that impact someone who has a physical disability and then see someone talking openly about their disability and it makes them feel a little bit more secure. But then
Mhm.
to the average person who doesn't even understand disability sees my video and now we're starting to change perceptions. We're starting to destigmatize, get rid of that taboo a little bit. So everything I do, even if it's goofy, silly, funny content, I know there is an underlying purpose behind it
Yeah.
to actually fundamentally rewire the way we think about people with disabilities.
Okay, so I'm super excited about this next question, but looking forward to the 2024 Paralympics, what are some of your personal athletic goals?
My plans for the Paris Paralympics are gold medal in the high jump and a medal in the long jump and the 100 meters. So I do three events: high jump, long jump, 100 meter. I will win gold in the high jump and I will win a medal in each of the other two events. And the plan is to stay healthy. I mean, the Paralympics is at the end of the summer, so it's 2 weeks after the Olympics, so we still have a lot of time before. And I'm just preparing to be healthy, be sharp, do everything I can in the lead up, not leave any stone unturned, make sure I'm doing everything in my power to put me in the best possible position to win a gold medal, which is all I'm thinking about right now. All I'm
I have a good feeling for you. I have a
I
good feeling.
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
So I know everybody right now is focused on the Olympics, the Paralympics, but I wanted to ask you, looking beyond the Paralympics, do you have any long-term goals related to your athletics or even your disability advocacy?
I feel my larger purpose and the meaning behind everything I do is to normalize disability and be an example of what's possible as an amputee. And I think that the Paralympics, I think that track and field, my dreams of going down as one of the greatest Paralympians of all time, is just a vehicle to help me accomplish the larger purpose of changing the way we see disability. I think that track and field is just a stepping stone. I think that the growth and promotion of the Paralympic Games is extremely important because seeing people with disabilities competing at the highest level is one step closer to us getting rid of that taboo because there is a taboo. You know, you see someone with
Yeah.
disability, people don't know what to say, they don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm all about having the conversations. I'm all about people approaching it with good intentions, maybe getting the language wrong, maybe saying the wrong thing, but we're having the conversations. And that's how we move the needle forward. And everything I do in my life is on the basis, will this normalize disability or not? Whether
Yeah.
that's projects in the entertainment industry, whether that's social media content, whether that's winning gold at the Paralympic Games. Everything in my life is in service of creating a more inclusive world.
You're truly such an inspiration. I was wondering if you could maybe give some young athletes at home who are also inspired by you some pieces of advice that you think would help them as they pursue their own goals.
Most people fail not because they set goals that are too high and then they fall short of them, but rather because they set goals that are too low and then they accomplish those. And then in turn, forfeit tons of potential just because they didn't believe that they were capable of more. So, my advice to everyone that I come across who is aspiring for some sort of success, I always say dream big, set audacious, unrealistic, impossible goals. I think that's so important because if you don't believe you're capable of accomplishing something great, I don't feel like you stumble upon greatness. I don't think that that happens. I think you have to set goals that are so ridiculously high and then go after them with everything you have. And even if you fall short of them, you go further than you ever thought you would if you had just
Yeah.
set, there's another quote I love. It's aim for the stars, land on the moon. I think that's so true.
Ooh.
I don't know about you, but I feel like most of human history has been driven by people who set crazy, unrealistic goals. I think that's the way we move forward as a society almost.
Wow, I mean, the more I speak with you, the more inspiring you get. But because we're almost out of time, I was curious if maybe you could take a second, look back on your journey, and maybe share with us one of the most valuable lessons that you've learned so far.
The most valuable lesson I've learned so far is that failure can be the biggest motivator. And you hear a lot of successful people say that all the time. And I don't think I truly was able to appreciate what they were saying until I went through it myself. And sometimes that happens, right? Sometimes people can say things and you don't really appreciate it until you experience it yourself because you're able to understand what they were saying in a different way. And for me, I
Mhm.
mean, everyone told me growing up, and failure is a part of the process and you learn from it. But I wasn't able to really appreciate that until I failed, until I felt like I hit rock bottom, until, you know, I was laying in bed at night, looking in the mirror, trying to figure out who I am in moments of failure, because you really do figure out who you are in moments of failure.
Mhm.
You can lose yourself in success. When the phone's ringing, the texts are coming through, social media notifications are at an all-time high. It's hard to understand who you truly are. You figure out who you are in the depths of your soul when you fail. And I have failed. I will continue to fail. I will continue to screw up and mess up and lose. I think that's all a part of accomplishing success, but I am more grateful for my moments of failure now than I am for my moments of success because I believe I wouldn't be the person I am today without failure. And so I learned to reframe failure in my own head and work through it and use it as motivation. And I would say that is one of the most important lessons that I could have ever learned. And I'm grateful to have learned it early in my career because I know I will fail again. I know things will go wrong again.
Yeah.
There will be more obstacles and roadblocks and hurdles in my path. And what I do in moments of adversity defines my character.
Wow, that is just such incredible advice from such an incredible person. I again wanted to thank you for being my first ever interview with the Nocturnal. I had such a great time today. I just want to wish you the best of luck as you go for gold at the Paralympics. Thank you so much, Ezra.
Thank you. I appreciate it.